Hi, I'm Chris, a volunteer with Next Village, who also works in transportation. And I'm here to walk you through some slides that I put together aimed at increasing your mobility with ride-hailing apps. So ride-hailing can be a great way just to increase your mobility. And uh, just to kind of um, give a little bit about the why, it's really useful for short trips. So within San Francisco or in the San Francisco area, and it's especially useful when public transportation is either unavailable or inconvenient. And so what I'm going to do today is walk you through some of the step-by-steps in order to enable you to hail a ride. And what I'll be doing is walking you through how to use these three different services. They're called Onward, Lyft, and Uber. So just to sort of have an understanding of the differences between these options, Onward is best used if you have a specific mobility need. So for example, if you need assistance moving from your home, getting into the vehicle, or if you have perhaps a vision impairment, Onward drivers are specifically trained to assist you for more of that sort of door-to-door service. Also important to note is that Onward is best used to order rides approximately 2 days in advance of when you need to take your trip. Um, on the other hand, Lyft and Uber can be thought of as more traditional taxi services. So you'll need to be able to get into the car on your own, or have someone from your home be able to assist you to enter into or exit the vehicle. So for these two options, not all drivers are specifically trained. And the convenience about these two options are that they can be used on demand, or you may also order them in advance as well. So a few things to keep in mind about all of these services is that you will need to have an account that's set up. And in order to set up those accounts, you're going to need to provide a couple of pieces of information. So that includes your name, your email, phone number, a credit card, and billing address. And once your account is set up, ordering a ride is actually very, very easy. And another item to sort of keep in mind at the time of this recording, we are still in the conditions of a pandemic. And so these companies have, adopted additional safety policies. So if you're watching this video, past 2021, you can sort of skip past this part. But just so for your awareness that all drivers should be wearing masks covering their mouth and their nose, and as well, riders are required to wear one. And so this is for your safety as well as for the safety of the drivers. In addition to that, you're asked to sit in the back seat of the car in order to keep an optimal distance from the driver. This is also a safety precaution that you're likely used to due to COVID-19. And then before, and this is more for your safety, and this should be adhered to at all times. But before your car arrives, you will often receive a confirmation of the driver's name, perhaps the different type of car that it is, the brand of car, the color, and you'll also get information like the license plate. And so you can just to ensure that you're getting into the right vehicle, make sure that you confirm these details, maybe not every one, but you can confirm a number of those details before getting into the car. So something as simple as asking, hi, what's your name? Or asking what's my name, because the driver will also have your name information, or double checking the license plate number that it matches what is on your confirmation. That will ensure that you don't get into the wrong car. Great. So for the remainder of this presentation, I'll walk you through the instructions step by step for how to use each of these three options. And we will start with Onward. And so in order to get started with Onward, there's two ways that you can access their services. The first is calling this number that I have shown here, 1-800-700-4797. And the other is online. You can access Onward with either a computer or a smartphone. So if you don't have a smartphone, you can use a computer. And for computer, you just go in your internet browser and you put in this URL here, ride.onwardrides.com. So once you are able to log in, you have to sort of essentially create an account with your email address. And I was able to do this. It's very easy and quick. And so this is the first sort of screen that you see. On the slide here, you'll see that it's sort of shown on a smartphone, but in fact, on the internet, if you were to use your computer, it looks exactly the same. And so the first step is to select your trip type. Actually, I apologize. Your first step is to select book transportation, which is on the bottom of this slide. Then the next step after that is to select your trip type. And so here you have one of four options: a one-way trip, a round trip, delivery, and then wave or wheelchair accessible vehicle, or a gurney. So that's for more specialized transportation needs. I will point out that if you take a one-way trip, because Onward it does prefer that you book in advance, that before booking a one-way trip on Onward, you should probably ensure that you will have a way to get back home after taking this trip. Otherwise, just select round trip. So once you selected round trip, which is usually the common selection, then you will be prompted to select the day of the trip. And so you'll have a calendar here. You'll be able to select the specific date that you want to take the trip, not necessarily today, the day that you're booking the trip, but the day that you would like to take the trip. So approximately 2 days in advance, and then select next. And then you'll select the time that you would like to be dropped off. So what time you need to be dropped off at your destination. And there's a little bit of a scrolling option that you'll be able to move either with your finger or with your mouse for your computer. So you select the hour, the minute, whether or not it's AM and PM, and then you select next. Then you select a pickup address. And so here you can either start typing the address, either option, laptop or smartphone. And what's really great about this is that you'll actually see some suggested addresses that will drop down for you. So, I put my address here, 832 Filbert. Just make sure that you double check the address because, there could be the same street address in different cities. So in this case here, there's a number of different Filbert streets. And so I want the one in San Francisco. Then you click next. And the next screen is you will select where you would like to be dropped off. And so you follow the same process. You will get suggested addresses that drop down. And fortunately, a little map will show specifically where that is. And then finally, you want to double check these details. And so, as I mentioned, you'll have a map here that will tell you, we'll put pins on the map that show exactly where your trip will start and where it will end. And so make sure that that looks approximately right for you. Now, if you've gotten this far and you haven't added a payment method, you will have to add a payment method as your next step. And so you can see there on the bottom, right next to confirm ride, a little note that mentions that you have to select a payment method to book your service. And so I'll walk you through what that steps look like. And so this is an example of what the screen looks like. It's quite simple. Simply add a payment using a credit card number. You would put in your expiration month and year, 2 digits for each of those, and then the CVC, which is a 3-digit code on the back of your card. Once you have those items in there, you can add a payment method. Oops. And then you'll be able to confirm your ride. And a couple things to keep in mind. If you might have perhaps inadvertently booked the wrong time, or you need to make an adjustment, or you need to cancel, simply call that same number, 1-800-700-4797. And Onward asks that you call up to 24 hours in advance of booking your service before making cancellations or modifications. 24 hours after your trip is completed, your credit card will be charged, and a receipt will automatically be sent to you, your email. And so if you need that receipt for record keeping purposes or reimbursement, you can rest assured that it will come to your email approximately 24 hours afterwards. Great. And so now that we've talked about Onward, I'll move over to talking about Lyft as a ride-hailing option. And so I'll walk you through the steps in order to book a ride using Lyft. So very similarly, you can access Lyft either online with your laptop or your smartphone. And as I mentioned, Lyft is on demand. And so the web address that you would go to is lyft.com. It's Lyft.com. Or you can download the Lyft app from your smartphone's app store. And in order to set up an account, you'll need to provide that same information that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And to start, you will sort of click your profile and you will click payment, and the little icon there shows that it's sort of a credit card. And at the bottom here, you'll see a button where it says add a new card. And so when you go to add a new card, then you'll add much of that same information. So your credit card number, the expiration date, your CVC, the 3-digit code on the back of your card, your name, billing address, city, state, and zip code. And then click save, and your payment information is automatically saved as part of that system, and you'll be set up to take not only this first ride, but you'll also be set up to take off future rides that you might want to take later. So it's very convenient after setting it up the first time. So once you're logged in, then you on the same screen, you'll essentially enter your pickup address and your drop-off address. And so you can see those here, these fields here, and then you'll actually see those pins show up on the map. And then what you do next is select ride details. So for ride details, what you see in the next screen are different ride options. And so the default option is a Lyft ride. And so for your information, Lyft is essentially a regular 4-door sedan, usually enough to transport 2 people during COVID conditions. If you have a guest coming with you, 2 people can sort of fit in the backseat. And then post-pandemic conditions, you likely could fit up to 3, perhaps maybe 4 if the vehicle is large enough. But if you do have a larger group, or perhaps if you're carrying bags or groceries and things like that, you may consider taking a Lyft XL. So it's just a larger vehicle that can fit bags or friends and family if you wanted to take sort of a larger trip with a group. Then you go ahead and select request a Lyft ride, and the Lyft ride will show up in about 10 minutes. And fortunately, Lyft drivers will actually help you load and unload bags out of the vehicle. But if you have a lot of things to carry, definitely best to make arrangements so that folks at home can help you carry things into and out of your house. Fantastic. And so finally, I'll walk you through the last steps for the third option, which is Uber. And I will note that Lyft and Uber are very, very similar in service and very, very similar in functionality. So just the look and feel of the screens are a little bit different, but I'll walk you through them so you can see those differences. So as I mentioned, Uber can be accessed online at uber.com, uber.com, or you can go on your smartphone to your app store to download the Uber app. Just like the prior two options, you have to set up an account. And once, and you follow that same process as I had showed you on Lyft, entering a payment information, entering in that information that I mentioned, your name and phone number. Once you are logged in, the steps are very, very similar. So you enter a pickup location and then your drop-off destination. There will be drop-down options to help you out and sort of help, so you don't have to fill out the entire address. And so you'll be able to select the address that you're looking for pretty conveniently. In the same manner as Lyft, make sure that you look at the map to see the pins that start for the start and end of your trip to ensure that it looks approximately in the right location. And then you can select Request Now. You can also have the option to schedule for later if you needed to book, let's say, an hour from the current time that you're booking, or perhaps even longer. Great. And so now, and as I mentioned, the Uber is also on demand. So if you select Request Ride Now, typically you'll wait about 10 minutes before your ride will appear at your door. And a couple of things to keep in mind is that if you have difficulty finding the drivers, or if the driver is having some difficulty finding you when they arrive, they will try calling the phone number that's linked to your account. So ensure that you either have that available, and in the other, in the same way, you can actually contact the drivers using the mobile application on your phone. And so here you can see the screens, and I've circled the little phone icon. And so you can try calling them if you have some difficulty finding where they are. And this feature is available in both the Uber and the Lyft app. And I'll also point out that if you have any questions before, during, or after the ride, these applications allow you to reach out to a service or support agent. You can either message them via the portal in the app itself, or you can send them an email. And they usually respond within a few hours. Great. So now I've walked you through step by step all three of the options for ride hailing. And if you're a Next Village member and need any additional help trying any of these services, please call this number at the bottom, 415-888-2868, to request a technology volunteer, and they'll be able to assist you if you get hung up at any step of the way. Great. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching and enjoy trying out these services.